Hey everybody, welcome back to Absolutely Marvel in DC. I'm Dylan, that is Sal, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. So, in the interim between What If ending and Hawkeye coming out, we kind of got fandom last week, so that was good for us. But,
Yes.
now we don't really have anything to talk about. So, what else to turn to but the 1981 Spider-Man animated TV show?
And why not, right? I think that the idea here is we're going to go through them. It's not just going to be... We're going to do every episode of the 1981 Spider-Man animated series. That's 26 episodes.
I'm not sure if that's true, but...
Starting with Bubble Bubble, Oil and Trouble, and ending, of course, with the ever-loving Under the Wizard's Spell episode with everyone's favorite Spider-Man villain, the Wizard.
That can be your little crusade. You can hop on every week.
Right, and just talk about this show that like no one remembers.
Nope. This was my first time watching any of this. I watched 4 episodes, 2 of which you recommended, and
Awesome.
then the first 2. So episode 1, 2, 4, and 15 is what I watched.
Yeah, well, it makes sense to watch the first couple because, like, usually that introduces you to the characters, except it doesn't.
It doesn't at all.
Yeah, this show presupposes the idea that you know who the hell these people are and makes no effort to give you, like, any context for Spider-Man, his powers, where they come from, who his supporting cast members are. They're just like, you probably read the comics, here's a show.
Yeah, which is like, that's so interesting in a modern lens where every single time we get a new Spider-Man, like barring Homecoming, where they just kind of threw you into it.
Yeah.
But even that in Civil War, like we get introductions to those characters, but here things just happen, and like I didn't question it at all because I know who Spider-Man is, I know who Aunt May is, I know all these like, the statutes of Spider-Man as a character.
Yes.
But it for sure just starts up without a warning.
Yeah. Now, we should say this is not the first time Spider-Man has appeared in animation. The first one was the 60s show. That's the one with the theme. The theme everyone knows, the theme that has that beautiful orchestral score from the beginning of Homecoming. That's the show that, like, people who are way older than us remember and affectionately refer to as their Spider-Man cartoon. This one is kind of my Spider-Man cartoon. Because I lived in this kind of like weird nexus period where there was a glut of comic books and also virtually nothing in other media for comics and superheroes outside of like Batman movies. And so I would go to like CD stores and rummage sales and get tapes of this show that aired before my time because there was nothing yet. And then eventually the 90s Spider-Man cartoon took hold, and I was like, finally, a show for me. But I was prepped by watching the 81 Spider-Man show and then its sister series, His Amazing Friends, which we'll get to later.
Right. And that's something that's so, like, the time period of this show and sort of the way that it operates was really interesting for me to watch, because like I said, I had never seen this show before, and I really haven't seen a lot from this era. And comic books, like old comic books in general, and the adaptations thereof, is something that's like so commonly parodied and satirized nowadays. So it was very interesting to see, like
an earnest effort, like how they're genuinely trying to do this. Also, it's weird what period they picked, but we'll get into it. So what'd you think of the theme song for this show?
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that, the theme song where it's just Spider-Man and then some noise.
Like, it's just I love it. I love this theme. He just swings in, has this fun tumbling theme, and then a guy goes Spider-Man, and then just more of that. Bam, bam, bam. I love this theme. Every time I heard it as a kid, I'd be like, yes, I'm gonna watch Spider-Man move around, and then he would, but that was kind of
sort of.
yeah.
The animation is definitely it's very interesting. It's not I don't know. I didn't really have any expectations, so I wasn't disappointed. But like, it's fine. Like, it's serviceable. It works.
It's a standard '80s cartoon. Like, it's pretty okay. It's pretty okay, especially for its time. Like, it could have been done cheaper. I've seen cheaper '80s animated series before, and it's leaps and bounds ahead of the 60s cartoon, where it was just like still images that they like moved in front of the camera. Like, it was just rough. And I'm sure that, here come all the 50-year-olds who are like, oh, how dare you? But yeah, no, this is my show. But yeah, so the period they picked, what was it, like postgraduate school Peter Parker?
Yeah, it's a weird, like, he's still in school, because, like, the first, I think it's the first 2 episodes, at least the first 2 episodes I watched, kind of the B plot of the, oh no, is like he needs to get his homework done.
Yes. But it's like,
such a strange
but he's like a full-grown adult. He's definitely
it's really weird.
It's college. He's living. Is he living with his Aunt May during this period? I think
he is.
Okay, because in Amazing Friends, he's not.
Okay. Yeah, he's living with Aunt May, and he's trying to hook up with Betty Brant.
Betty Brant is the love interest in this show.
Yeah.
What a weird decision.
It's so strange.
Yeah. But yeah, how do you like Spider-Man in this? Like, how do you like the portrayal and the voice? Ted Schwartz plays Peter Parker in this show. For me, didn't question it. I love this voice. I think he's great. He has a lot of quips in this show, which is kind of like, all right, thank you. Mm-hmm. Maybe too many quips. I don't know.
I think, I was going to say, the only thing I noticed was maybe too many quips. Like, everything out of this Spider-Man's face is just a joke, like a dumb joke.
Yes. The thing is, I kind of appreciate it, because if this
Sure.
were a Captain America show, or a Daredevil show, it'd be really out of place, but also kind of work for the time. But in this, it's just all the synergy, I think, is firing on all cylinders. Like, they're like, yeah, he makes jokes. He puts the audience at ease. You never really think he's in any danger. The most stressed he gets is he goes, uh-oh. Like, that's the most pain in his voice he's ever getting. It's just really, I don't know. I have no complaints about the voice cast.
It's really hard to criticize a show like this because it's so like far removed from anything modern, and it's like just goofy. Like, it's
and no one remembers it, so like no one's gonna be like, "What? How dare you?" The '81 show, not Amazing Friends, the one everyone references, but the predecessor to it.
Mm-hmm. It's a hard place to put like you can't really criticize it, because every time I thought of like criticizing the show and I had something that was like, that seems weird. Like, it's just like, who cares? Like, I don't care.
Was there anything that was weird? Because there are some things that are weird. There are some weird decisions in the show.
I mean, I wrote down a couple in later episodes, a couple just like bits of dialogue that were like, what is that? Like in episode 4, the Black Cat episode.
Yes, Curiosity
Black
killed
Cat
the
says,
Spider-Man.
Yes. After beating up a bunch of guys who were coming after her, Black Cat says, I haven't had so many cute guys after me since I dropped out of high school. What does that mean?
What does that mean? I don't know.
There was a lot of lines like that I was like, I was honestly surprised by the I guess how like inoffensive it was until it wasn't. Like, and it was never egregious. Like in the other episode that you recommend, the Gadgeteer episode, the Incredible Shrinking Spider-Man. Great episode, by the way.
Thank you. Where is this character? Dan Slott never put the Gadgeteer in his run.
That is very surprising.
What an oversight.
Yeah. But Peter has a line talking about someone, I don't know who, but he says, referring to some character, she was putting on too much weight anyway. As like a woman leaves the room or something. I'm like, well, okay, just some. Yeah. But again, like lines like that, I'm like, I don't care. It was a different time.
And that's the thing is like, it's such like you said, it's such an inoffensive show that when it's like they're picking their battles and no battles were ever had. They were like, I'm gonna throw in this line, and people are like, why not? It's on at 6 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
For children, no one's gonna catch it.
No.
And even then, like, there's nothing to catch. But yeah, apropos of issues or things I noticed with Curiosity Killed the Spider-Man, at least, why does Felicia sound so old?
Yeah, why does she look like that too?
Right? Well, that's what she looks like in like her first appearance. Like her first Black Cat costume is basically that, which is kind of cool. But like for me, it was always just the voices always blew my mind. Like I remember watching this show. And I think there's one where Green Goblin's in it. There's a Halloween episode where Green Goblin says, "Happy Halloween, Spider-Man," and he sounds like Aunt May.
Oh no!
And I'm just like, there's no difference between like Aunt May and Green Goblin. Felicia sounds a good 10 years older than everyone else in the cast. It's so weird. They were like, we want to go with like a sultry kind of, old school, old Hollywood, smoky voice. And it just sounded like a grandmother being Felicia Hardy. I picked that one also because did you catch the cameo? I mean,
the Superman cameo?
Yeah, the Superman cameo.
Yeah. Not the first time that because I think in episode 2 they reference Superman as well.
Yes, they do.
So I guess they just like poking fun at Superman constantly.
Superman's literally in this episode.
Yeah, he is. He just shows up.
Spider-Man needs to use the phone. He gets the phone booth. Clark Kent comes out of it. They play something like a Superman theme. Mm-hmm. And then Spider-Man's like, what the hell? He leaves.
It's like, who was that guy?
Who was that guy? I'm like, wow. It was a different time. They were friends back then. They were just like,
Yeah,
put him
which
in.
I mean that is something that I think they did that a lot in the comics too. Is just like Clark Kent would he works for a competing newspaper. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Barry Allen, after he died in Crisis, is just a character in Marvel after that.
Buried alien.
But yeah, so any other things that stood out to you? Let's pick an episode that like you watched that I might have not, like Lizards Everywhere, or Doctor Doom, Master of the World, because
that was the other one that I watched. It was episode 2. That was a strange episode that I think it sort of epitomizes this show. And I haven't seen it, but from the vibe I'm getting, it's like, here's just a random villain that has pretty much no connection to Spider-Man that we're going to throw in here. And like the Fantastic Four is not going to show up. No one other than Spider-Man is going to show up to beat this guy.
In 26 episodes, Doctor Doom is in 4 of them.
Yeah,
he is the main villain of the Spider-Man show.
That's hilarious.
Magneto is a villain in this show, and when they had the Incredible Shrinking Spider-Man, they had an opportunity to use any Spider-Man villain of the thousands that existed in 1981, and they were like, I've seen all the villains. Here's one from me.
Here's
the
a new
Gadgeteer. Here's a new one. Justice for Joshua. What? Like, there's just this weird, maybe there was something from Marvel where they're like, don't use, it's a personal challenge. I'm going to make a Spider-Man show. I'm going to use no villains from his rogues gallery. I mean, also, like, yes, there are lizards and there's goblins and stuff, but like, come on.
Speaking of just inventing stuff, like the first 2 episodes of this show feature a nephew for J. Jonah Jameson who doesn't exist and never exists past those 2 episodes.
Oh, he disappears.
I looked it up and I was like, this must be like an old Silver Age character that I don't know about. And I looked it up and it says 2 appearances. These 2 first episodes of Spider-Man 81.
And that is it. Yes. Ugh. It's just there to, so he can be annoying.
Yeah, that's literally it. It's just like this weird relationship of, again, because the show doesn't introduce you to this character.
No, it's just like, right? J. Jonah Jameson's
nephew. Yeah, like Mortimer,
nephew.
Right? Like Jameson's nephew. Everyone knows Mortimer. Like,
oh
who?
My God. I love they picked Mortimer. Because it's just like, of course they did. Because I just picture the people developing this show are all men in their 50s who are wearing suspenders and chain smoking in a small room with a coffee table with a couple of unhealthy items on the table. He's got a nephew. He's funny. He's annoying. He causes conflict with Jonah. Mortimer. Because why not?
Classic. He's like Eddie Brock, but we don't want to use that, so.
Right, we're not going to do that. 81, Eddie Brock, no. He doesn't exist
Absolutely
yet, but still. Yeah. It's this perfect blend because like Betty Brant's in it, J. Jonah Jameson's in it, Aunt May's in it. Robbie, I think, appears in this show. Doc Ock, Lizard, Gobby, Spider-Man. Like the Daily Bugle, the Empire State University. There's trappings of the comics, and it's like this like smashed car into a wall of we're making a TV show in the 80s and it's not a toy commercial, so I have no idea how to make this.
Yeah. It really does just feel like something that exists. Like it's just, here's a thing that happened.
That's it.
There's no, it doesn't seem like there's any goal to it. Like
No.
each episode is superbly self-contained, like to the
Yes.
point where the season starts and you're like, wait, what did I miss?
Did I watch this out of order? No, you can watch any
Yeah.
episode and you miss no beats. There's no two-parters. There's nothing to worry about. And there's also like random episodes where they're like, here's every Marvel character. Like they go to costume parties and like Medusa is literally in the last episode. Like,
Whoa.
yeah, like, and they're not like, oh, well, you need to know who the Inhumans. No, just Medusa's in it.
She's just there.
Yeah. Also, no other female characters in the show. Like, no Gwen, no Mary Jane, no Glory Grant. Like, there's nobody but Betty. And Betty was Peter's high school girlfriend. It's just weird the decisions they made. It's spectacular. I love this show. Like you said, it is just this horribly inoffensive thing that exists, and I think that's why like no one talks about it, because it doesn't break new ground. It doesn't add anything to the zeitgeist. It doesn't even that's kind of I think why I like Joshua the Gadgeteer so much, because it's the only new thing besides Mortimer that they bring to the table, and they're both so milquetoast and bland. Like, who cares? Like, there's no reason to bring in Mortimer into anything outside of this show.
No.
It's just funny to be like, what? And with Joshua, I just love, he's fat, he's stupid, he sucks, no one cares about him. Like, he doesn't even care to give himself a decent costume. He's balding. Like, come on. He's just I don't know. He must look like somebody they don't like. He's just a big loser. Ugh, and he's got a great voice. Anyway, this is just that
episode was definitely like that. That was the most fun I was having with this, just because it's also just like it's a fun little concept to see tiny Spider-Man running around New York trying to fix himself.
That's it. And literally, that came. He's shrunk. That's the episode.
Yeah, go write it.
It's in the opening credits. They love it so much. Gadgeteer, him jumping on the typewriter, being attacked by the cat, all of those are in the opening credits from beginning to end. They loved it so you could tell that was their favorite episode. They're like, now we got this show. Now we've got Spider-Man working.
Yeah, this is the episode where it all works. When we shrink Spider-Man down.
It's like this is the episode that they pitched to the network.
Yeah.
Like, this is what the
so
show's
listen
gonna be.
here.
And they're
Spider-Man
like,
gets small.
Oh my God, but he's Spider. Spiders are small. You're a genius.
Also, I don't know if you remember, but halfway through the episode, they introduced this like body horror aspect of it, that he keeps shrinking and eventually he will like eliminate himself. It's like,
he will shrink to nothing. What?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, because Joshua was a crappy inventor. But yeah, I guess that means that elephant didn't make it.
Who?
He shrinks an elephant in the beginning of the episode.
Oh, that's right. No. It's a
a
does
lion.
He shrink an elephant? It's a lion. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the Reed Richards analog shrinks a lion.
What the hell?
Just looks like Reed Richards.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on that just that one episode, but like, it's so silly.
Sure.
I love this show. It's just so stupid. Like, who cares?
Do you have any, because you've seen the whole show, before we wrap up, do you have any like nuggets from episodes I haven't seen?
Not really. They're all like, Doctor Doom is so ineffectual, but he's like, they keep it's so weird. They keep insisting. Like, every time the Doctor Doom shows up, you're like, okay, well, they did another Doom episode. And then like, you'd wait a couple episodes and then he'd show back up again. You're like, what is your obsession with this character?
Why is he here?
What do you keep doing this for? And it's not like Doom remembers him. Like, Doom is the only continuity in the show, because he's the only thing that's as consistent as the main characters. Like, Doom will be like, Spider-Man again. And I'm like, no, you again? It's not his fault. It's his show. What are you doing here? What do you keep doing here? I also will remark that recently I was reading an actual issue of Spider-Man, and the voice actor for J. Jonah Jameson from this show was the voice I used in my head. And I was like, why? Like, Ed Asner exists. Why would I ever think of this guy? But I do. And it's just like, it's him.
That's fair. I didn't bat an eye at this Jameson. It felt like when I heard him, I was like, oh, okay, this just, it sounds like what someone would do for Jameson.
Right. Yeah, no, every J. Jonah Jameson is just, yep.
That's him.
No one screws up with him when it comes to
Yeah.
voice casting or physical acting. They're like, yep, that's him. Nailed it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say about the show except that it's really weird when they did the next show and it's the exact same animation. It's probably the same continuity, but they replaced only the Spider-Man voice actor. What?
Yeah, that is weird. That's a
It's
strange
really-
thing to do.
Well, and like that. Okay, so in the opening credits, when they say Spider-Man, it's not just that they say Spider-Man. They also invent a gigantic tower of titles that say Spider-Man, that Spider-Man stands on. In Spider-Man: His Amazing Friends, it's the exact same thing.
Huh.
Like, it's the same thing, and it's the same narrator who's like, Spider-Man. He's the same guy. I'm just like, what is happening? Why did you fire the first guy? Like, is this a continuation?
Something must have happened there.
Yeah, right. I don't know any real backstory on this show outside of it being like, here you go.
Here's a Spider-Man cartoon.
Well, and like they put it out on tape. Like when you're a child, when I was a child, like tapes were available of like just one episode of the show, and it was like $30, and it's like, what the hell? But they were indistinguishable from that and Amazing Friends. Amazing Friends will have more to talk about because like it's such a weird decision. It's such an interesting phenomena. It's like this is phase one. They're like, I think we got something here. Okay, we got the narrator who yells Spider-Man at you. We've got the goofy bullshit that is not in any of the comic books. But can we put like two characters that have for literally nothing to do with his mythos and put him side by side, like shoulder to shoulder with the main character? That's it.
Weird decision.
Like Doom keeps coming back in the next show, and I'm like, Doom.
They love Doom.
They love Doom. Spider-Man.
Who doesn't?
Anyone. If I highly recommend it. It's on Disney Plus. If you have a kid, put this on. They'll watch.
Yeah,
it.
just put it on in the background. It'll enamor them.
It's the most inoffensive Spider-Man cartoon ever made. I actually stand by that because like the 66 show, the animation is egregious. The groovy music is bombastic and loud. It's just too much. And His Amazing Friends, it's going to raise too many friggin' questions. Who's Firestar? Invented for the show. Iceman? What?
Why?
Why? So many weird things. They did, yeah. But like this one, it's just Spider-Man, Betty Brant. The only thing the kid's going to be like is like, who's Betty? And it's
Who's
like, oh, that was his
Betty?
high school girlfriend? I don't know. It's weird. Just a weird show. But wonderfully inoffensive. Definitely throw this on for your kids because they'll watch it for 10 minutes and then go like, okay.
Definitely. All right, well, that's Spider-Man 1981. Everything that we're going to talk about up until Hawkeye comes out is going to be on Disney Plus. So
Yeah, so you can watch it.
we're not like sponsored by Disney Plus or anything, but just, these obscure shows, if you want to go watch them, if our
Yes.
discussion has enticed you, then you could go do that on Disney Plus.
Seriously, it's so great that they've like collected some of these relics. Like I'm
Yeah.
so glad they got the Iron Man show and the Hulk show and the horrible Avengers show and then the good Avengers show. And what they need to do is get that Pride of the X-Men pilot and put that on the Plus, because I don't know if you've ever seen X-Men Pride of the X-Men, but it was their pitch for the X-Men animated series.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, it was made by the same guys from like G.I. Joe and stuff. So the animation is like this product of its time, but firing on all cylinders because they're pitching the show. Like it's not an episode. It is an episode, but like it's also a proof of concept. So like the
Right.
animation is really good for its time. Like if you're watching G.I. Joe and you're watching that opening credits and you're like, wow, how come the opening credits are so much better than the regular show? Pride of the X-Men is like that the whole show.
That's cool.
And then they went like, nah. And then they went, okay, well, I'll use it to make an arcade game. And that's why, like Dazzler is in the arcade game and why everyone from the arcade looks exactly like the characters from Pride of the X-Men. It's just, there's some
interesting.
kind of weird synergy from there where they're like, okay, we won't make a show. I'll make a video game out of all of this stuff. It's dope. You should definitely check. We should watch that.
Yeah, if we can find it.
Yo, it's on YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh no, that's
Sure.
that's available. Yeah, don't worry about that. Just Google it and you'll watch it.
Fair enough. Yeah, that
Anyway.
sounds interesting. We'll see.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. We're probably going to talk about more Spider-Man next week, so stay tuned to the channel. Absolutely Marvel and DC. That's what it's called.
That's right.
I'm telling that's Sal. See y'all next week.